Hey guys, it's 7 Ninja 7, and today we'll be talking about major artifacts not feeling exotic. One of my biggest problems is just, forget about, let's not even talk about like the perks on the major artifacts right now. Let's talk about the time. Alright, the fact that I can't spam my major artifact maybe at least every 2 minutes is a problem. And then there's another problem of, why is it 5? 5 is very drastic when you think about some of the different major artifacts. Like Darkhold, you can make an argument for like having it so that you can't spam that for like 5 minutes. You could maybe make an argument, but like Darkhold, even Darkhold should not have it where if you were to hit the what's the one I'm talking about? If you were to use the damage explosion, it should take 5 minutes. No, that shouldn't even be worth 5 minutes because the damage explosion is not even worthy of using it. It's not even worthy. It's like I'd rather heal myself if I'm that low, or get my cooldowns up. There's no point in going for the damage explosion. Literally, if you hit that, it's probably by mistake. And my biggest problem with Darkhold really is I only used it on Iron Man before they patched it so that when he exits the Hulkbuster, it resets because technically he's not alive in that state, right? Like when you go in the Hulkbuster, technically your character is dead, and so it's like a whole refresh when your character, when Iron Man or whoever comes out of the suit, right? And so it's like to think that like Darkhold should be like to think that Darkhold is like good, like it's worthy of a 5 minute wait time is ridiculous. It's delusional, because at the end of the day, it's like without it doesn't have any passives that help you during that downtime. There's nothing there, and so it's like, well, what did you get? Well, nothing. And so it's like even if you have someone like Iron Man who would benefit the most off of it, right? Because he's flying around the air. Like he's the main person who would really benefit off Darkhold. Like he's flying around the air. If he gets knocked out of the sky, especially if you're playing as a flight DPS who's kind of a glass cannon, because that's really what I see him as anyway. You wouldn't be able to use him effectively because it'd be better to use Tactagon or Lethal Nornstone. There's no point in using Darkhold. Like he's the best person to use it, but he's the last one to use it because there's no purpose in using something that has no passives. It's not efficient at all. Then we got like the two Nornstones, Lethal Norn and Defense Nornstone. Alright, look, I'm not saying they're not effective, like the passives help, and then like the buffs in general that you can just do on command help. But the thing is, it's like, alright, the buffs that they're getting, if we're going to be completely honest, let's say we just go with a ranged critical or a melee critical or maybe even a weak point. You know how easy that is to get normally? Like, why would I want to have a buff that allows me to proc that in order to get a defense buff? It's not even stronger than what I get normally. And to be completely honest, there's no real point in running either one just because it's so easy. Like there's no real point, and so that leaves like Ring of Nibbling, and it leaves the what's it called? Something of Vishanti's appendix. Like I'm not about to say any Roman numerals, but it's like it leaves those two, and the Vishanti's appendix where it works best on Black Widow. But to be completely honest, right, if I'm using that thing for healing, right, I'm probably using it to get a takedown, and a takedown will give me my health back. If I'm using it for the stealth timer upgrade, it only gives you 1 second more. Like that's literally all it gives you. And so let's say you're using Black Widow and your proficiency is super high, right? And you get like a critical in every hit. Like what? At best, let's even say that you're using the light finisher, not light finisher, but the heavy from the light to heavy finisher, right? Where she does that little spin attack with the slam down. So she's got multi hits going in between when she's doing that, and during that whole animation, she ran out of her 4 seconds. During that whole animation, and that's assuming you get the proc, because I think there's like a drop off point in your procs of criticals. And so it's like It's just 1 second to add to your already degrading timer that degrades pretty fast. Like, there's no point in it. And so the only thing that really helps you in the end is going to be the main power up it has. Now, for someone like Black Widow, a it shouldn't be 5 minutes really. If a 3 minute timer doesn't sound that bad, right? Like, I'm not even saying like 5 minutes is still too much, no matter what character it's on. And 5 minutes on any of them is too much. But the simple fact is, 3 minutes for Black Widow makes sense. But if we're talking about any other character, why would I want to have Vashanti's appendix on? There's no reason at all. But that's not even the main thing I wanted to talk about. The main thing I wanted to talk about was the exotics, the major artifacts and exotics don't feel exotic. They feel very generalized, not even specifically generalized. The Vashanti's appendix works best for Black Widow. She's the only character that can use it effectively, right? I talked about it earlier. The healing on it doesn't really matter. But she can use it more for her. She's invisible. She's got the melee criticals. She's got a multi-hit melee critical. Oh, she's got a multi-hit melee finisher and a multi-hit melee heavy that she can use effectively for melee criticals. It's not as effective as it could be, but it's there. She's got the ability to pop another invis, right? So she's got 3 invises in total. And it's like, she could use that effectively, but no other character could. And so it's specifically general to her. Now, you could maybe if they decide to ever make a character like that, another character that uses stealth or invisibility, then another character could use Vashanti's appendix. But even that, right, it's a sign that they might be going towards a new direction. But it's not big enough because they decided to play it safe. And for a PvE game, they're playing it safe. It sounds weird, but it's like, to play it safe and make it so that every melee critical that you get, that you have a chance of getting anyway, gives you 1 second to your stealth timer. I don't really understand that either. Like, why would you give me 1 second during my melee finisher? Assuming, right? My light to heavy melee finisher, assuming I get a critical proc for whatever reason, right? That actually procs it. Assuming that happens, right? I'm getting 1 second. Why wouldn't you give me like 3 so I can at least see the timer go up? It doesn't have to go by its past cap, but at least let me see the timer go up, right? And that doesn't happen. You just know it sits there. And Black Widow is the only character in the game right now, besides like maybe like Thor when he does his light signature, that has a multi-hit. She always has a multi-hit, and her combat is very fast. And the fact is, she's not able to proc it fast enough that you can even fill your timer back up. It's not possible. It's just not. So there's no real reason to even run Vashanti's appendix. Literally, like I said before, and the main thing I would really use it for a third stealth. But to be completely honest, though, at least my build anyway is set up in a way that I'd have my stealth back by the time that I run out of my smoke grenade, and that's assuming I've already popped my Veil of Shadows, right? Because there's like already 2 ways to do it right now anyway, and so that's specifically general. It's a sign, but probably not going to happen. Lethal Norn and Tactagon and Obsidian Nornstone are probably the only things you're probably going to use on any character. But Captain America, Captain America, I use Obsidian Nornstone just because he feels like he needs more defense than Hulk does. But Hulk can heal himself, so why would I use that? Now, Hulk's the odd one out, though. I'll actually use the Ring of Nebbling on Hulk just because I have the ability to heal myself, and like what I want more is Bone Shaker or maybe my Stranglehold. Like, I'm not even thinking about my ultimate like that, but those 2 moves are very effective for that. And so it's like, Ring of Nebbling works, right? But it's not even the exotic perk that I'm using Ring of Nebbling for. I'm using it for a passive it has. And it's like, that's not much. Like, I know everyone's probably looked at it like, bro, I'm only using this thing like for the first passive. Like, I wouldn't even upgrade Ring of Nebuling if I didn't want to get to 150, right? There's no point in upgrading it, like, at all. It's like I'm wasting my polymorphs for not polymorphs, but whatever that pink stuff is called again. I forgot. I'm wasting it for to get gear power on something that I can't use it on because there's nothing to play at that gear power. There's no point. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But then let's go on to like Tactagon and Lethal Norn, right? Like, the problem I have with these two, it's not that I have a real problem with it. It's more like I have no reason to use anything else. Tactagon is for status, and every character you want to have status damage on, or at least battery damage, and so it's like Tactagon's very effective for that. Then you have the Lethal Norn, which I don't know 100% if they even fixed the buff, but let's assume they did. The Lethal Norn helps your damage times, and it helps your it helps your critical damage. It even gives you more. It gives you the ability to pop a damage buff, right? And so it's like I have something effective for raw damage, which I would probably use on Iron Man, just because his whole combat style makes no sense. I'm not. Why would I go melee somebody as Iron Man if I'm flying around, right? If I'm shooting from range, why would I want to go melee him to get the batter? Now you would probably think, well, if you have teammates with you, you're not going to do that anyway. Here's my thing, right? Quick match is like not good. Matchmaking in general is not good. And then the friends I did who played this game are not playing the game anymore. And so it's like, well, what do I do now? Right? And so it's like, oh, well, you can rely on your AI. Your AI don't do anything like that. They might show up in the middle of a battle, but by the time they get there, you might have killed everything. And so it's like, well, what's the point now? And this, like, everything I'm telling you right now is coming from, I used to play only, like, level 4, but, like, level 4 difficulty, but then it was like, man, like, what's the point? Like, I'm not getting anything from this, so let me just play level 2. And so I did. That's all I just started doing that. I'm just like, it feels better, I guess, but it's like, you know, what else is there to do? You know, but it's like there's nothing specifically generalized. There's like the first one they started to do, it's not even effective. So it gives me faith that there's a chance there's going to be more, but it doesn't give me enough faith to believe that it's going to actually be effective enough to change over from Tactagon or Lethal Norn or Obsidian. There's just not. It worries me because, like I said before, melee criticals, if you proc them, have a chance of giving you 1 second, which you'll probably end up using during the melee animation. So yeah, that's my problem with that. But like I said, it's too general, but it's not specifically general. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, guys. I know it's a rant, but I do appreciate you guys showing up to hear my rant. Anyway, if you want to see more videos from me about like what things I'd like to see changed or any gameplay any games I play later on down the line, remember, just check me out here, subscribe, hit the live notification button, leave a comment. Like I said, like, look, I understand the idea that, you know, these things could be overpowered. I understand the idea of that, but the thing is, it's not. All right, let's just be honest. It's not. Like, they could do better on making them overpowered, but they're not. So it's like, you know, just leave a comment if you want to talk about this. Right? I'll certainly duke it out in the comments with you. I don't mind. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.